Exposed, a barren woman's incredible journey to giving life before the count who dismissed her. In the small town of Maplewood, Nebraska, where family is the heartbeat of every soul, 30-something Emma wore a smile that could light up even the dreariest of winter days. But behind that cheerful facade lay a heart heavy with unfulfilled dreams and whispered judgments. She worked as a waitress at the local diner, pouring coffee and listening to stories about pregnancy, babies, and parenting. With every joyful laugh and expectant glow of mothers, a shadow deepened in her chest, the aching reminder of a health condition that had nearly robbed her of being a mother herself. On this bone-chilling afternoon, as icy winds rattled the diner's windows, Emma's friend Lily entered, breathless with excitement. Emma's heart raced at Lily's beaming face, a premonition of good news. But when the words finally came, "I'm pregnant," they cut deep. The laughter around her felt like a distant echo as a tightness gripped her throat. How could she smile? How could she face their joy when her own heart felt like it was breaking? Nervous glances from townsfolk buzzed in the air, and Emma found herself wading through a sea of whispers. Edgar, the self-proclaimed elite of Maplewood, perched on his figurative throne, watched with disdain. His condescending smirks felt like daggers. As she served him his usual pie, she could almost hear him say, "You're not worthy of this world." The unfairness made the coffee pot in her hand tremble, but fates twisted in a shattering instant. The faint crackling of flames erupted outside, the thick acrid smoke filling the diner. Mrs. Thompson's house, a cherished beacon where Emma had found love after losing her parents, was engulfed. The community rushed to the scene, but Emma froze. She could almost hear Mrs. Thompson's kind laughter, her nurturing smile. The weight of despair shifted, igniting something within Emma, a spark of fierce determination. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emma rallied her neighbors, igniting fervor to gather supplies and rebuild Mrs. Thompson's life. The flames that devastated also forged unity in Maplewood like never before. As she stood at the center of this compassionate movement, she was astounded by her own voice. It was authoritative yet tender. Each conversation peeled back layers of stigma wrapped tightly around their hearts. In this surge of togetherness, she realized that family isn't always defined by blood, but as the smoke cleared and community spirit flourished, she felt the familiar shadow of Edgar looming overhead. He approached her with a confused, almost grudging respect. Emma steeled herself. Could she change his heart, just as they had changed Mrs. Thompson's circumstance? Just when she thought it might be possible to embrace her new role in the world, the news from a doctor's appointment shattered her already tender psyche. A glimmer of hope, a possibility of motherhood. The thought sent her heart racing, tied with the anxiety of never feeling deserving enough for this chance. Would she find her place among those who once judged her? Would she come to see herself, not as fate's reject, but as someone who could ultimately give life in more ways than one? The question lingered like autumn leaves on the edge of a winter storm, pulling at her, whispering for answers. Emma stood at the edge of her small kitchen the next morning, hands trembling around a mug of freshly brewed coffee. The steam curled up like whispered promises. She could barely focus. The news from the doctor still echoed in her mind, each pulse a tender reminder of hope, yet fear knotted her insides. She had spent the night thinking about what it meant to be a mother, not just the joys, but the weight of responsibility. Would she be capable? Could she nurture a life after so many years of feeling unworthy? As she sipped anxiously, Emma turned her gaze to the window, where the frost painted delicate patterns across the glass. Outside, Maplewood was waking up, families hurrying to catch the morning bustle, laughter floating in the air, a contrast to the turmoil within her. Emma's resolve was tested as her phone buzzed, a text from Lily. Coffee at the diner? Need my best friend today. Every part of her wanted to decline, to hide from the world, but something else stirred inside her. Perhaps this was the day to share her news. Maybe, just maybe, today could mark a turning point. As she entered the diner, the familiar din of clattering dishes and chit-chat wrapped around her like a warm blanket. The smell of pancakes and sizzling bacon cut through her anxiety. She spotted Lily at their usual booth, her smile wide and inviting. But even before she could reach her, Edgar's imposing figure blocked her way. "Look who it is," he sneered, adjusting his tie. "The community hero." His tone dripped with sarcasm. Emma's heart raced, the wall of strength she built around herself threatened to crumble. "Edgar," she said, forcing the tremor from her voice. "What do you want?" "Just wondering how long you could keep up this little farce. You know what Mrs. Thompson needs? Stability. Not whatever it is you think you can provide." Emma swallowed hard, reminded of the whispers that followed her every move. The judgment crept in like a cold draft. But something fierce flickered in her chest. What if I could provide exactly that? Stability, Edgar. I can create something beautiful from the ashes. His expression faltered for a moment, confusion crossing his face. She moved past him, feeling stronger. Once seated with Lily, she tried to shake off the encounter. "How's the baby?" she asked, forcing a smile. Lily beamed, and Emma couldn't help but feel a warmth rise despite her internal turmoil. The waitress approached with a coffee pot, and Emma found her voice trembling as she opened up. "Lily, I got some news. I have a good feeling about this." Lily leaned closer, her excitement tangible. I might be able to have a baby," Emma finally revealed, the words bursting forth like the first bloom after a frost. Lily's smile faltered for the briefest moment before morphing into an outburst of joy. "Oh, Emma. That's incredible." But as Lily hugged her, a shadow brushed against Emma's heart. The moment was magical, but doubt lingered. Could she really step into this role? Her phone buzzed again, and her heart dropped as she read the message: a group chat with the townsfolk planning a fundraiser for Mrs. Thompson. They needed volunteers. What if I did this? Emma thought, picturing the chance to rally the community once more. To prove to herself and everyone else that she was worthy, but just then, the diner door swung open with a crash. An urgent voice echoed through the room, "Something's wrong. Mrs. Thompson needs help again." Emma's heart stopped as she looked at Lily, a determination ignited within her. When it came to helping others, she would not hesitate. Emma steadied herself, ready to face whatever challenge awaited, visions of motherhood mingling with the urgency of the moment. Would this be the turning point she longed for? Or would once again Edgar's shadow within her life loom large, threatening to pull her back? The answers seemed just beyond her reach, but she wouldn't stop fighting for them. The diner was buzzing with frantic energy as Emma darted toward the commotion. Her heart raced, matching the intensity of the urgency lacing the air. Just moments ago, she had been displaying her hopes, and now an unexpected crisis pulled her back into the reality of Maplewood's struggles. Lily followed closely, her eyes wide. "What's happening?" she whispered, confusion mingling with concern. "Mrs. Thompson," Emma said, voice steady. "What do we know?" A few tables over, Mrs. Thompson's daughter, Claire, was on the phone, tension written across her face. "She collapsed at home. We've called for an ambulance." Her voice wavered, revealing the strain of panic lurking beneath her calm facade. With instinct taking over, Emma found her breath even as she approached Claire. "What can we do?" Her heart thudded louder than the diner sounds around them, a surge of adrenaline propelling her forward. Claire looked up, her eyes brimming with a mix of hope and despair. "Just keep her spirits up until help arrives. She has no one else here." Nodding, Emma grasped Lily's hand, a silent pact forming between them. They exchanged a glance filled with determination. They were in this together. "Let us gather everyone," Emma called out. "We need to support Claire and Mrs. Thompson the best we can." Lily jumped into action, rallying customers as Emma spoke. Mrs. Thompson has given so much to us. It's our turn to be there for her. Her voice soared above the chatter, compelling people to unite for their beloved neighbor. Slowly, the atmosphere shifted. Familiar faces turned, curiosity blooming into concern. Emma felt a warmth wash over her, a frail yet fierce connection forming among them. She glanced at Edgar, flanked by a few members of the town council, arms crossed and eyes narrowed, but for once, his sneer was muted by the older woman's well-being. As they organized chairs to create a makeshift waiting area in the diner, Emma caught Mrs. Thompson's favorite floral blanket tucked in the corner booth. She spread it over Claire's shoulders, offering a comfort that felt tangible. "She'll be okay. We're here together," Emma reassured, even as her heart ached for the woman who had always been a pillar of strength for so many. Minutes stretched like an eternity until the wailing sirens pierced the air outside. Emma felt the breath she had been holding release, her body tingling with anticipation. The crowd seemed to hold on to that same breath, tension easing just a fraction, infusing the atmosphere with a shared sense of purpose. As the paramedics arrived, voices jumped into action, relaying information and ensuring Mrs. Thompson received the care she needed. Emma stepped back, observing the scene unfold. It was in these small yet powerful moments she could see the impact community had on individual lives. "I can't believe how strong you were back there," Lily nudged Emma's shoulder, her smile brightening the still heavy atmosphere. "You could really do this. Bold and brave just like a mom." Emma laughed softly, her cheeks flushing. "But I need to be sure, I need to believe I can, before it gets real." The noise around them faded, her confession escaping into the space between them. But just then, from across the diner, Edgar made his way toward them, his expression now uncharacteristically serious. He stood there, hesitating, a shadow of something she couldn't quite define flickering in his eyes. "Emma," he said, his voice unexpectedly low. "Can we talk?" The world around her stilled again, the weight of his gaze striking a nerve deep within. Was this another challenge, a fresh wave of doubt? Or was there something of a truce waiting to emerge from the confrontation? Whatever the case, Emma felt the need to face it. She took a deep breath, heart hammering loud in her chest as she stepped closer, ready to discover what might unfold next. Would it be an opportunity for understanding, or would Edgar's presence pull her back into the shadows she fought so hard to escape? Emma met Edgar's gaze, her breath shaky but her resolve firm. "What is it, Edgar?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady despite the whirlwind of thoughts racing through her mind. That he shifted slightly, glancing at the crowd that had formed around Claire and Mrs. Thompson. "I know how much she means to everyone," Edgar began, the weight of his words overlapping with the ambient sounds of the diner. "And I'm sorry for how I've acted." Emma blinked slowly, disbelief flickering within her. "Sorry." It wasn't a word she expected from him. "You've spent years tearing down this community." Edgar winced a little, the tension in his shoulders softening slightly. "I know. I was wrong. But I want to change. And maybe, just maybe, I can help." The diner buzzed with muffled conversations, but Emma felt as if a bubble surrounded them. The air felt charged, carrying an unexpected tension that held both potential and doubt. "Help how?" she pressed, skepticism creeping into her tone. "I could organize community fundraisers. We need more resources to support our neighbors in tough situations like Mrs. Thompson's," he suggested, his sincerity evident, yet still tinged with urgency. "I've been cruel, but maybe I can make things right." Emma felt a flicker of anger at his mention of fundraisers. How could he even think about himself after how he treated others? "You think throwing money at problems will fix your past mistakes?" she challenged, crossing her arms. Edgar's jaw clenched, but her words hung heavy in the air, unyielding. "I'm not asking for forgiveness yet, Emma," he admitted, voice breaking slightly. "But I want to try. To wrestle with my mistakes instead of pretending they don't exist." In that moment, something shifted. Emma realized that perhaps even those who had caused pain were capable of change. The risk weighed against her heart, but if she could struggle for Mrs. Thompson, could she also struggle for Edgar? She took a step back, processing it all. Behind them, Claire's voice broke through the distant murmurs as she reassured her mother that help was coming soon. Emma felt the surge of community all around, watching them band together, her motivation renewed. "Fine," she finally said, deferring her anger in an unexpected direction. "But if you want my support, you'll have to show it through your actions. Actions that build this community, not divide it." Edgar nodded, though a mix of uncertainty and determination clouded his expression. "I can do that," he promised. "I really will try." Just as Emma felt a glimmer of relief, an unsettling thought nagged at her. Maybe Edgar's change would mirror her own journey. This might just shake her once-worn path to its core. Lily leaned closer, almost whispering, "Are you really okay with this?" Emma shrugged, unsure whether to be hopeful or cautious. "We'll see." As the evening unfurled, Emma watched the previously turbulent diner transform into a home, a gathering of stories woven together by shared adversity, but then her phone buzzed in her pocket, a message blinking from an unknown number. Emma opened it, her stomach twisting into knots. "Meet me tonight if you want the truth." The words loomed like an unanswered question hanging in the air, piercing through her budding hope. What truth awaited her? How would it intertwine with the surprising turns her life had taken today? Emma's heart pounded as she considered her next move, the weight of the future pressing heavily on her shoulders. Emma stood in the diner, torn between the warmth of rekindled community spirit and the cold grip of uncertainty that the message had sent coursing through her. The hum of voices faded, the laughter that once filled the air now distant as she focused on the screen of her phone. It felt like an invitation to another world, one that danced on the edges of her life, just out of reach. Her gut instinct flared with caution. What truth could come from a stranger? But another part of her, the part that had felt so powerless over the past few months, urged her to dive deeper. "Emma?" Lily's voice cut through the fog of her thoughts. She turned to find her friend searching her face, concern etched across her features. "What is going on?" Guilt washed over her for even considering stepping out into the uncertain night when there were still so many unresolved emotions in the diner. "It's nothing," Emma said, forcing a smile that wavered. "Just a message." Lily raised an eyebrow, her expression skeptical but understanding. "You know you can tell me anything." Emma swallowed hard. "What if it's something I don't know if I'm ready to hear?" "Then don't go," Lily replied, her voice steady. "You don't owe anyone anything, especially not when it feels like a gamble." But the idea of backing away from what could be the beginning of understanding nagged at her, like an itch that couldn't be scratched. Edgar's plea echoed in her mind, a testament to change, and she found her heart clawing for a chance to make things right for herself, for the community, for what lay ahead. "I have to check it out," Emma finally said, resolve creeping back into her voice. "If there's a chance to uncover something real, I can't just let that go." As she stepped away from the cozy chaos of the diner, Emma could feel the heat of their collective energy warming her back, like a safety net. The night enveloped her, dark and inviting, the streets familiar yet shadowy under the glow of the streetlights. Each step felt monumental, her heart hammering with anticipation. She reached the parking lot, instinctively searching for the spark of the car's headlights that had beckoned her. Instead, she noticed a figure leaning against her vehicle. The shadowy outline appeared calm yet vigilant, intensifying her unease. "Emma," the figure called softly, the voice sending chills down her spine. She squinted, trying to make out the features of the person who had summoned her. "Who are you?" Emma asked, her voice steadier than she felt. The air held a sharpness, tension rising like steam from a simmering pot. The figure stepped closer, the stranger's face illuminated under the flickering street lamp. Emma gasped as recognition bloomed. "I've been waiting for you." With those words, the puzzle pieces of her life seemed to shift. The stranger's appearance threatened to tear apart not just her expectations of that night but everything she thought she understood about herself and her community. "Why did you text me?" she demanded, an inexplicable urgency washing over her. The unknown face now felt like a key, and she was desperate to unlock the door to whatever lay beyond. As moments ticked by, it felt like time itself paused, leaving her hanging on the brink of a truth she could not yet fathom. What was this stranger really here to reveal? Would it reshape everything she just began to understand? Fear and curiosity wove together tightly within her, but she sensed she couldn't turn back now, not again. The truth beckoned her forward, and so she took a step closer, heart racing with every ounce of courage she could muster. "Tell me everything," Emma breathed, aware that this could be the pivotal moment her story needed, even if that journey threatened to unearth old wounds. What she didn't know was just how deep those truths would cut, or how they would shape not only her destiny but the fate of everyone in their tight-knit community. The stranger gathered the shadows around him, his eyes reflecting a complex mix of emotions: anxiety, hope, and something else Emma couldn't quite decipher. "My name is Daniel," he said, taking a step forward. His voice was soft yet urgent, as if he was delivering a long-awaited message only meant for her. "What do you want from me?" Emma replied, her heart thudding against her chest. The weight of his presence felt too heavy, almost suffocating. The streetlight flickered above them, casting unsettling shadows that danced like ghosts. "I'm here to help you understand," he said, his hands fidgeting at his sides like they had something crucial yet untold. "About your parents, about the past." Emma's breath caught in her throat. Images of her childhood flooded her mind, hazy memories interlaced with sorrow and longing. "What about my parents?" She studied his face, searching for answers beneath the surface, desperate to uncover even a sliver of the truth she had buried deep within. "Your mother left something behind, something important." "I didn't want to reach out, but it feels like now is the time," he admitted, his voice ringing with sincerity. Emma felt the ground shift beneath her. Could it be possible? A part of her soul had lived in the void left by their absence, aching for closure, for connection. "What are you talking about?" Her voice trembled as she pushed the walls of her disbelief. "Your mother was a part of something much larger than you know. She was involved in a network dedicated to helping those who needed it most, a community that extended far beyond our little town. There are whispers about her legacy," he said. Daniel's words hung heavy in the air, a tantalizing promise that brought tears to her eyes. "Why now? Why tell me this?" "I believe it's your time to step into her shoes. To carry her mission forward. She knew one day you would be ready," he said, each word lacing the air with a faint sense of hope that drew Emma in like a moth to a flame. She shook her head, confusion mingling with anger. "No. She left me. She abandoned me. How could I follow in her footsteps?" Daniel stepped closer, the intensity of his gaze penetrating her defenses. "She didn't abandon you, Emma. She was trying to protect you from dangers that lingered beyond comprehension. The people you lost are connected, and their stories are intertwined with your own. It's a calling, not a curse." His words pierced through her layers of pain, igniting a tiny spark of determination buried deep within. "What do I need to do?" she whispered, her heart flickering with uncertainty. Daniel didn't hesitate. "You must find the old notebooks she left. They hold lists of names and places that could lead you to the truth. There are people out there who knew her, who need to know she still lives on through you." A tremor shot through Emma. The weight of responsibility pressed against her chest. "What if I can't do it?" she questioned, vulnerability creeping in. He reached for her hand, his grip firm and reassuring. "You're stronger than you think. Your journey is just beginning, but you have allies waiting to help. You're never alone in this." Silence enveloped them as she took a deep breath. A new path unfurled before her, one laced with shadows but also shimmering with the promise of understanding and redemption. Would she embrace it or falter in fear? "You have to hurry," Daniel urged, breaking her reverie. "There are people who want to stop you from discovering the truth. It won't be easy, but you need to uncover your mother's story before it's lost forever." Emma's heart raced as the weight of his words settled in. Her journey wasn't just personal, it was a quest for truth that could change everything for her community. With determination swelling within her, Emma nodded firmly. "I'll do it. I'll find those notebooks." As she turned toward the shadows of the night, she felt a surge of energy course through her veins. Daniel lingered behind, watching her with a mix of pride and concern. But deep down, Emma knew one thing for sure: the moment she took that first step into the darkness was the moment she embraced a destiny she had never expected. What truths awaited her in the shadows? And would she find the strength to confront the darkness that lay ahead? The air was thick with uncertainty as Emma stepped away from the flickering streetlight, its glow retreating behind her like a memory fading into the night. Her heart raced, each beat propelling her forward, filled with a mixture of fear and belief. She was about to embark on an adventure she never asked for, yet one that felt drawn from the very fibers of her existence. With every step, she thought about the notebooks, her mother's cryptic legacy. They were an anchor to a past she knew little about. Where would she even begin to find them? Time felt like a phantom, slipping through her fingers as she moved through the deserted street, her senses heightened, alert to even the faintest sound. "Focus, Emma," she whispered to herself, her voice trembling in the silence. She had to remember the stories her mother told, the half-remembered names, the hushed discussions about the things that were kept secret. They floated in her memory like autumn leaves caught in a breeze, but were elusive enough that she struggled to grasp them. The thought of rummaging through her childhood home made her stomach churn. What if she opened the door and all the memories rushed back? The laughter, the arguments, the loneliness that followed their disappearance. Yet there was a nagging voice in the back of her mind, urging her forward. These notebooks might hold the answers she'd been seeking all her life. As she approached her old neighborhood, a chill enveloped her, almost as if the past was wrapping its chilly fingers around her. She paused outside the modest house, the worn porch swaying gently, whispering its quiet stories. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside. The air was stale, filled with echoes of laughter and muffled sorrows. The living room looked just as she remembered: faded walls covered in family photos that seemed to watch her with vacant eyes. Each image told a story, but none offered the clarity Emma craved. She made her way to her mother's old study, her pulse quickening with every step. The room was dim, dust motes dancing in the sunlight filtering through the curtains. Everything felt frozen in time, books piled high, knickknacks left untouched. The scent of old paper lingered like a ghost. Emma scanned the room, her heart pounding like a war drum. The notebooks had to be here. They were the key to the truth, the missing pieces of her family puzzle. She approached the cluttered desk, where her mother once sat scribbling furiously, and began digging through the stacks of papers. Chances were slim, yet hope flickered within her. Amidst the chaos, a flash of blue caught her eye, a notebook peeking out from beneath a pile of old magazines. Her heart skipped. It felt surreal, like the universe was aligning just for her. She pulled it out, the cover worn and edges frayed. The familiar scent of faded ink enveloped her as she opened it, the pages filled with her mother's meticulous handwriting. Names, places, symbols interspersed with notes that seemed to speak at her. Emma's breath caught as she read a web of connections her mother had woven, outlining the lives of people she had helped, notes of compassion and strength documented on each page. Tears welled in Emma's eyes. This was her mother's legacy, a testament to an extraordinary woman who had fought for the sake of the unseen. But then she stumbled upon a name that sent a chill down her spine, a name she wished she wouldn't find. Daniel. What was he doing here? Alarm bells rang in her mind. Who was he really? And what else did he know about her mother's work? Suddenly, a sharp knock broke through her thoughts, startling her. Emma whipped around, a wave of fear crashing over her. Had someone followed her? The shift in the air grew heavy with an unspeakable tension. She felt the weight of the notebook in her hands, a fragile shield against the encroaching darkness. What would she do if someone was coming to stop her from uncovering the truth? Turning towards the door, she took a deep breath, ready to face whatever lay beyond. Would she unravel the threads of her mother's past, or would she find herself dragged deeper into a mystery that might change everything? With a pounding heart, she whispered to the stillness, "Show me the way." Emma's hand trembled as she gripped the notebook tighter, the pages crinkling under the pressure. Another knock resounded, louder this time, sending a jolt of adrenaline through her veins. Who could it be? Her mind raced through possibilities: an old friend, a relative, or something darker. She glanced around the room, searching for a place to hide, but there was nowhere to retreat to. Everything seemed to close in on her: the stack of old books, the towering shelves filled with nostalgia, even the dust motes floated like ghosts, observing her impending confrontation. Gathering her courage, she moved cautiously toward the door. The third knock came, urgent and insistent. Emma summoned every ounce of fortitude she could muster. If she was going to face this unknown, she couldn't do it shaking in her boots. "Who is it?" she called out, her voice wavering despite her best efforts to sound strong. "Emma." The voice, deep and familiar, sent a shockwave through her. It was Daniel. Her heart skipped violently. What was he doing here? Had he sensed she was searching for the truth? Or worse, was he a part of the secrets that lay hidden in her mother's legacy? "Emma, open the door. We need to talk." He knocked again, but this time she hesitated, her mind racing with questions. What did he know? Did he have a hand in her mother's work? Did he even have the right to linger in her past? Emma wrestled with her emotions, a mix of anger and fear, a need for answers battling with a desire to protect what little peace she had left. "Emma." His voice turned pleading. "Please, just let me explain. I swear, it's important." She felt the weight of the notebook pressing against her chest, as if the words within were urging her to open the door and find out more. What if he could fill the empty spaces in her mother's story? But then again, what if he was here to sabotage her quest for truth? Taking a shaky breath, she finally twisted the doorknob, preparing for whatever confrontation awaited her. The door creaked open to reveal Daniel standing there, a look of urgency etched on his face. "Emma, thank God you're safe," he breathed, relief mixed with something darker shadowing his eyes. "I was worried when I didn't hear from you." "I don't want to hear your excuses, Daniel. Why are you here?" Her voice was sharper than she intended. The emotions surged within her, angry waves ready to overwhelm everything she wanted to accomplish. "We need to discuss your mother. There are things you don't know, things that can change your perspective on everything." Emma's heart raced, intrigue battling with skepticism. "You expect me to believe that? After everything that happened?" "It's not about what happened. It's about what's coming. You're in danger, Emma." His words hung in the air, thick with implication. Her pulse quickened as she processed his statement. Was it possible that her search for the truth had already drawn unwanted attention? Danger? Why? What do you know? She pressed, frustration and fear mixing into a heady cocktail that made her dizzy. "Please, let me come in," he urged, glancing nervously over his shoulder, as if expecting someone to leap out from the darkness. Emma hesitated. Should she trust him? Could he truly be a source of help, or was he part of the mystery that threatened to engulf her? With a deep breath, she stepped aside, letting him in. The walls seemed to close in as Daniel crossed the threshold, the tension unmistakable. Emma's mind raced, caught between anger and lingering affection. The notebook was still clutched tightly in her hands, a reminder of the legacy she was determined to unravel. "I have questions," she declared, her voice steady despite the chaos roiling inside her. "And I expect answers. No more secrets." Daniel nodded solemnly, the weight of her mother's hidden world hanging heavy in the air. But just as he opened his mouth to speak, another loud noise shattered the moment, a crash from the back of the house followed by a low growl that sent a chill down Emma's spine. What was that? She gasped, dread taking hold. In that moment, she knew. Whatever revelations lay ahead were tangled with danger, the kind she never anticipated. With her heart pounding, Emma turned to face Daniel, a question burning in her eyes. "What have I stepped into?" And deep inside, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was standing on the edge of discovery, but also on the precipice of something far more dangerous. Daniel's face paled at the sound of the crash. His brows furrowed as he instinctively moved closer to Emma, positioning himself slightly in front of her. The intensity in the room deepened, the air thick with unspoken tension. "Emma, stay back," he whispered, his voice low and urgent. "We need to be careful." "What was that?" she managed to ask, her throat dry. "Is someone here?" He shook his head, glancing around as if assessing the room for potential threats. "I don't know. It could be an animal, or it could be." He paused, searching for the right words, something more dangerous. Emma's heartbeat thundered in her ears like a war drum, demanding her attention. She could feel every hair on her body standing on end. "What do you mean? You can't just leave it hanging like that. Your mother was involved in things that are not part of the ordinary world," Daniel said, his eyes darting to the back of the house, where the noise had come from. "Things that attract attention from people who won't think twice about harming you to get what they want." Emma felt a chill sweep through her. "What do you mean attract attention?" "Her research. The things she discovered," he replied, his voice trembling ever so slightly. "There are forces that were after her, and now they could be after you. It doesn't end with her." "Why would I be a target?" Emma protested, the words spilling out, fueled by disbelief and rising fear. "I'm just trying to find the truth." A sympathetic look crossed Daniel's face. "And that makes you a risk to them. That's why I showed up." Suddenly, the growl erupted again from the dark hall that led to the kitchen, and Emma instinctively stepped back, her body colliding with the wall. The sound was deep, almost guttural, and it sent waves of panic washing over her. "What is that?" she breathed, her voice barely above a whisper, each word trembling with anxiety. "I don't know," Daniel said, his hand reaching for hers, lacing their fingers together tight. "But we can't stay here. We need to leave. Now." "Leave? Are you kidding me?" Emma felt a surge of defiance, battling against the instinct to flee. "I'm not running away. I deserve answers." "Emma, there's no time. We can come back and get your answers, but right now, your safety is what matters." Just then, the door to the kitchen creaked open slowly. Emma's grip on the notebook tightened. Darkness loomed in the doorway, and she caught a glimpse of something shifting in the shadows before a figure stepped into view. It wasn't human, its eyes glowed with an unnatural light, reflecting the dimness like a predator surveying its prey. "Get back!" Daniel shouted, pushing Emma behind him protectively, her breath hitched as she realized with piercing clarity that whatever it was had no regard for the fragile world she was trying to piece together. This wasn't the narrative she'd envisioned: the notebooks, the secrets, the peaceful revelations of her mother's past. No, this was something far grimmer. Danger was closing in. "Run!" Daniel shouted, his voice fierce but filled with urgency as he began to pull her toward the door, but Emma hesitated, torn. "Wait. What about the notebook?" she shouted, pointing back to the small desk where it lay. "Forget the notebook. Your life is more important than some pages," he insisted, and Emma felt the weight of her mother's legacy tug at her heart. As they sprinted toward the exit, the creature advanced, its growl deepening, echoing off the walls like a thunderous drumbeat of doom. Emma's mind raced. Was the notebook a key to understanding not just her mother's past but also her own future? She could sense the answer was in her grasp, just out of reach. "What do I do?" she pressed, desperation flooding her voice, her hands shaking. "Trust me. Keep running," Daniel replied, and the pull of fear urged her forward, away from the creature, away from all she thought she knew, but she couldn't shake the feeling that leaving meant abandoning part of herself, part of the legacy her mother had left behind. As they burst outside into the night, she looked back one last time at the door, and for a split second, a flash of insight collided within her. What if the truth she sought was intertwined with this lurking darkness? They were still in danger, but now Emma was more than just a girl searching for answers. She was a part of a story that reached far beyond her imagination. And she needed to know how it was going to end. "Daniel, we have to go back," she shouted defiantly, the thrill of resolve coursing through her veins. There's too much at stake. And in that moment, she realized, she would not run from the shadows. She would confront them. But could they survive long enough to unravel the truth? The crisp air was filled with tension and uncertainty as Emma stood outside her childhood home, determination lighting a fire in her chest. Daniel grasped her hand tightly, eyes scanning the darkened street, yet she knew one thing for sure, she wasn't going to back down. Behind the shadows lurked not only dangers but the essence of her mother's past, a legacy that called to her like a siren. "Emma, we really can't go back in there," he urged, but she cut him off, resolute. "No. I can't just leave. I have to understand what is happening." With pulse pounding, she felt a rush of adrenaline. The creature inside was fearsome, yes, but it symbolized the very darkness her mother had fought. Turning back was like turning away from the truths she sought to uncover. "Let us find a way to outsmart it then," Daniel said, just as he caught a glimpse of movement through the back door. "Emma, we have to strategize." "No," her voice was firm, and she could feel strength rising within her like a tidal wave. "In all those notebooks, my mom wrote about someone, an ally who could help. If I don't confront this, I could risk losing everything." Their shared retreat had awoken something in her, a fierce protector, a bearer of her mother's fight. So, they advanced step by calculated step, hoping to turn fear into strength. A plan formed in her mind. "What if we confront it together?" "Okay," Daniel conceded, his expression shifting from anxiety to something like admiration. "But let us stick together." As they moved closer to the door, voices brushed against Emma's thoughts, remnants of her mother's whispers, woven with memories of love and light. With courage swelling, Emma pushed the door wide open. The dimness clawed at her, the beast inside still waiting, unyielding as shadows danced erratically around them. Then, she took a deep breath, standing tall. "Whatever you are, I'm not afraid. I want the truth." The growling halted. Silence engulfed the room, eerily complete. In the stillness, the creature emerged, a dark mass coalescing into a figure that suddenly grew clearer. It wore her mother's face, but twisted by pain and fury. "Let me show you," it rasped, voice echoing like a memory. Emma, breathless, exchanged a glance with Daniel, who stepped up beside her, as if to shield her from the truth that lay beyond that familiar visage. "Who are you?" Emma asked, a shiver running down her spine as warmth and dread coalesced in the air. "I am the shadows of your past, woven tightly through the tapestry of your mother's life," the apparition replied. "You've borne the weight for far too long, Emma. It's time for you to claim your heritage." The urgency in its voice injected a new kind of fear into her heart. "My heritage. Your mother was part of a group secret, dedicated to safeguarding truths lost within the chaos of this world. She didn't abandon you. She left to protect you." Emma's heart leapt. "Protect me from what? Who am I in this story?" "You are her legacy, Emma. You're the key to all those names mentioned in the notebooks. The community she served is alive, still needing someone who can walk where she once did." With an influx of clarity, realization swept over her, threading through fear, a whispered assurance that she wasn't just a victim to her life but a beacon of something greater. "If I am indeed part of this, then show me the way. I want to embrace my mother's legacy and help take on the shadows that lingers." For a moment, the figure hesitated, as if weighing her intentions. Then, slowly, it nodded, the darkness within beginning to recede. "You must confront those who wish to silence your mother. You carry her spirit within you. You hold the strength she always wanted to pass down." On those words, inspiration ignited like wildfire. Emma wrapped her fingers tighter around Daniel's, a vow unspoken between them, an alliance to fight for the truth and protect those they loved. "Let us do this," Emma declared, her resolve unwavering. "I will not stumble in fear, I will carry my mother's legacy forward." And just as she embraced the fire of purpose, light began flooding the room, illuminating the shadows that once threatened to consume her. The creature before her transformed, no longer a bitter reminder but a guide, leading her through the aftermath of the battle to reclaim everything that once felt lost. As dawn broke, the shadows surrendered to the light, and Emma emerged not as a girl seeking answers, but as a warrior ready to rebuild a community. Her heart raced. Her journey was just beginning, and she was ready to face whatever challenges awaited. It was time for Emma to reclaim her story, to weave her soul's worth into the fabric of this town and awaken the same fierce spirit her mother had so unwaveringly embodied. In that moment, with Daniel beside her and the horizon stretching wide, Emma finally understood, every shadow could yield to illuminating truth. Now you need to be a part of this journey. Subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others discover this transformation. Comment below with your feelings about the ending and share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this amazing evolution. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of joining this movement.